Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on a beautiful Thursday as we look towards the future. And I look to my left and I see the one and only, my hero, Gregory P.
Look at you guys
Allen
on your phones
G.
texting each other.
Brad.
I'm not texting. I'm tweeting the show. Because somebody doesn't tweet the show ever.
Oh, boy.
I tweet the show because I'm for the people.
I'm telling you right now that next week, if you touch any form of tweeting before the show we're no longer
Was
friends.
I here last Friday? No.
I don't remember.
Was the
3
show
minutes ago.
tweeted? No. Was I here on Monday?
Friday, I don't do the show, so that's irrelevant.
We're
to
after the Bears game on Friday with Carmi
Yes,
V.
you, me,
did not
Carmi
tweet
V,
the show.
Hoge.
Monday, Herb Howard. You did not tweet the show. I wasn't here. So
That's not
that's
true.
the common
That's not
denominator. It
true.
is true.
I absolutely tweeted
You
the show on
waited 30 minutes into the show after I had guilt texted you to tweet the show.
Nope. Disagree. Not true. We'll prove it to you after the show. No one cares about this. Let's do this show. All right.
Hey, thank you, Matt Nagy. Bragg's looking thinner when Hoge's not around. I was just saying to my friends in Spaces yesterday that when people call me fat, it does hurt my feelings.
Well,
I lost all this weight, and people still are like, hey, this one guy in the comments yesterday was like, hey, fat boy. I was like, come on, why do you have to cut? Why do you have to cut into me like this?
That is not nice, and we will not do that on the show. Sarah's fired up in the background here.
Thank you, Sarah.
And listen, I got no problem with how you look, other than the fact that I wasn't dying to see your legs again this year. But hey, that's where we are. So thank you for doing that. All right. Reminder, by the way, I'm going to be doing the CHGO Sports Podcast today at 3:00. George Offman, special guest on it. He's got a book out. George is a legendary. Me and Kevin will be talking to George at 3.
Our guy.
Shorty P. George. I don't know what Casey's laughing around about in the background. Is Casey on the show today too? Okay. Oh, she's got booted. Okay, so I'm right. All right. So I put out the tweet about an hour ago, and I said, we are talking about what Kevin Warren will ultimately do this offseason at noon. And then I asked, what would you like to see? And I thought about many options. You only have 4 in the Twitter poll. We've got 1,093 votes on it in the 1 hour and 1 minute. Thank you so much for supporting us here at CHGO and CHGO Bears and at the Carman. So the categories were new coaching staff, new GM and coaching staff, keep Flus, new offensive coordinator, run it back, I believe. And that was A, B, C, and D. Currently is voted as A, B, C, and D.
Right.
76% new coaching staff, 10% new GM and coaching staff, 8% keep Flus and a new offensive coordinator, add a new offensive coordinator, 6% last, run it back, I believe. So these are Bears fans, diehard Bears fans, and that is the feeling right now.
T3P wants to run it back.
T3P wants to run it back? Okay, well, hey, listen. I am open to all options. I'm interested to hear takes
we'll
on all
put a poll
options.
in the old YouTube chat. We'll see how that goes.
We'll throw a new poll in the YouTuber.
And by the way, when you vote, please hit the like button. Thank you.
Yes, we love the like, and we ask you to do it so the show gets traction, and we get traction, and we are that much more vibrant and secure, and so we will continue to do this and entertain you for the rest of time is the ultimate
I'm just
goal.
surprised you left out the quarterback.
So I thought about it.
Any of those options.
Well, so I thought about it, but ultimately I'm talking about Kevin Warren, which is not his decision. This is Kevin Warren's not making a quarterback decision. I thought about it, change QBs, but that's not what he would do. That's not up to him.
Right.
So I left it off. But we can have a quarterback conversation like we do every day on the show if you would like about what the final 7 games mean for Justin. And he had his press conference yesterday.
I voted A.
You voted A.
Get rid of
new coaching staff.
Get rid of everybody.
But you want Ryan Poles to make that hire.
Right. I've been open that I would love Jim Harbaugh on this team.
Right, but so you also have talked about at times, not to make you do flip-floppy things like I get called on all the time, but you also have talked about having a full reset the first time ever.
I think I understand how that makes a lot of sense, but I am still I believe in Ryan Poles' train, and I also think they're going to keep him, which are two separate discussions. Mm-hmm. But I do believe in what Ryan Poles is doing.
Well,
even with the mistakes that he has made, I acknowledge those.
Let me make a hypothetical argument for you, if I may. Okay.
Approach the bench.
Okay. So I will grant, as I make this argument, that Matt Eberflus, front-facing to the media, is miserable. He gets caught in his words. It's not impressive. But I would also submit that I'm not exactly sure how important that is because it doesn't seem to bother his players at all. And I would also submit that the Bears, from what I can tell, I'm not saying that he's beloved in that locker room, but they do continue to compete week in and week out. And when we get to see the videos, a little peek behind the screen, when they win games, at least, it seems like that locker room is having a great time.
Even you, Montez.
Right.
Since the Chiefs game. At the Chiefs game, it looked like they had all given up on this coaching staff. But since then, they're 3-3.
I mean, that's a lifetime ago in an NFL season. So I'm just saying that it just seems to me that he has at least a decent grasp on the team. All right. So, and you would also make the argument, I think a fair argument, that the defense has gotten a lot better once Matt Eberflus has been the defensive coordinator, right? Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay.
I saw Mark Potash put they're one of only 5 teams in the NFL that have a top 5 team in rushing defense and a top 5 team in rushing offense, and they're number 1 in rushing defense in the league. And the other 4 teams have a winning record. The Bears are the only one that don't.
Right. Now, why do the Bears not have a winning record? Because they commit way too many penalties, tops in the NFL, and they turn the ball over the most in the NFL. These are things that Matt Eberflus has preached and has not delivered on. So that goes against the argument that I'm making here, but that is the argument where the Flus, in the hits principle, hasn't done his job. That's a part of penalties are discipline and organization and having your team on point. The Bears have been miserable at it. It's not just a talent thing. It's also an execution thing. I think that's fair. And turning the ball over, when you preach it as much as they do, looking at them at -9 at the bottom of the NFL is just disturbing, to say the least. But here, the argument that I'm making to those who are saying, like, the third on the list, new offensive coordinator, is the biggest problem on this team not getting the offense, not getting the quarterback to where he needs to be. Isn't that overly obvious that if the Bears could somehow get Justin and or whoever the quarterback will be, from my guy 17 to Caleb to Drake to whoever it is, if you had that going, the Flus would look fantastic, Poles would look fantastic, the Bears would be winning football games.
I don't love that Eberflus gets to escape responsibility for the offensive, or specifically the quarterback's development and the success of the offense here the last few years. I mean, he brought Luke Getsy here. That's his coaching staff.
That's right. Well,
and B,
Ryan's in there too on that, but go ahead. Yeah,
100%. So that bugs me a little bit. I just don't like the idea because, they need to bring in an offensive coordinator that has experience calling plays, has experience developing a quarterback. But at this point, going into potentially Justin's 4th year next year, like, you're beyond that with Justin. Yeah, if you want to bring in somebody that's going to develop a guy, if they get a new quarterback, sure. But then at that point, why wouldn't you just wipe the slate clean with the coaching staff?
Because right. I get it. That, listen, if you're going to have a new quarterback and a fresh new start, it makes sense. Let's just do the whole. I'll
say this much though, because I've said this before. Mm-hmm. I really want Jim Harbaugh, and it may be a pipe dream. It may end up being like a pointless conversation because he may never leave Michigan. But if he came to the Bears and he said, "I'm keeping Justin Fields," I'll take that deal. I'll take that deal. Even if I had questions about, you're going to pass on quarterbacks again. If we get Jim Harbaugh and that's what he wants to do, go for it.
That's an interesting take, actually. Who out there coming in would you believe could get Justin to the next level? And look, I really hate when we do comparisons based on like this white guy and that white guy, and which I'm about to do. Like, well, look what he did with Kaepernick, and he can do the same because they are different, but they're not that different. At least that's not the way I would use Justin. I would run him a lot more. So if they sat down with Harbaugh, and I truly 1,000% believe that Jim Harbaugh wants to be in the NFL. He wanted to go to the NFL a couple of years ago, and the Miami Dolphins ended up punting, and then Minnesota, where he thought he could definitely go, also said, you know what, I'm out on you, and he got stuck and had to go back to Michigan. I think he would be chomping at the bit and an opportunity to coach the team that he played for.
Of course, it would be about the Bears. Would they be willing to deal with his personality, which is against the grain of anyone they've ever hired for head coach? And then B, more importantly maybe, is typically like what happened last year with Jim Harbaugh trying to get to Minnesota. He wants to be the guy that calls all the shots. He wants to be the guy that gets all, has the final decision on all these players they draft and acquire, which then he's stepping in front of what Ryan Poles is doing here.
Look, if assuming that Ryan Poles is still here, he'd have to have a lot of confidence in himself to handle a guy like Harbaugh, and also have to ask himself the question, do I want to deal with this guy every single day? Because Jim Harbaugh is a pain in the ass, and I wouldn't sign up for it personally. He is, wherever he goes, he creates a huge explosion. It doesn't end well, and he's weird.
Very weird.
Because, all right, so to get off the Harbaugh tangent, going back to Eberflus.
Yep.
To me,
and I want to get back to Warren.
I can't even believe I'm saying this because I think we're both kind of steadfast, and if we have the number 1 or number 2 pick, we'd prefer them to draft one of these quarterbacks and take a chance on one of these guys working out for the Bears. But if they're going to just keep the coaching staff, you might as well just keep the quarterback. It doesn't make sense to me because if you keep Eberflus and draft a quarterback, Eberflus is still on the hot seat next year in a lot of ways. I don't know how, I understand how that buys Ryan Poles time, but that shouldn't buy Matt Eberflus time. They've been one of the worst defenses in the league last year. They're again one of the worst defenses in the league this year. And at some point, when Matt Eberflus yesterday is talking about consistency, he has to start showing some consistency. So even if they did draft a quarterback and their defense still isn't consistent next year, then he's the one that gets, heads rolled, and he's on the chopping block, and he's on the way out. And now you just keep doing this thing where you roll over the coach with the quarterback to the coach. And it's that trickle-down effect that we've been constantly caught in here in Chicago.
It's interesting that you bring up the consistency thing that Flus said yesterday about Justin, which, a guy who basically dodges answering any question, he answered that fairly straight. And then I'm watching Getsy's press conference today, and, Getsy is more like, I want Justin to continue to get better like everyone else, himself, the running backs, the wide receivers, the offensive line. I mean, he didn't separate it out, whereas the Flus, and maybe it's because he just doesn't know how to handle press conferences, which we've seen over and over again, but he gave a direct answer. I need consistency. And now everybody's breaking down what consistency looks like. We did that on the show yesterday, and everyone seems to be taking a shot at it.
They need to be consistent play callers for him too. That not getting away from running the ball in the Tampa game, which made me completely lose my mind. They hold responsibility towards this too.
Right. It would have been very easy for him to say that. We're not looking at these last 7 games as some big tryout for Justin. We're looking at this as 7 games that we're all in this together, and we need to get this organization headed in the right direction. He could have said something like that, which gets me back to Kevin Warren. I'm Kevin Warren. I'm watching all of this. Here I'm watching my head coach give a press conference and say that the quarterback needs to be more consistent. I'm asking the same question that you're asking right now. Well, you need to be more consistent, dude. How come we're turning the ball over at this rate? How come we're having more penalties?
100%.
How come? Why am I watching you go into a press conference daily and do the word salad that you do and get tripped up by Jason Leisure or Dan Wiederer or Adam Hoge or Nicholas Moriano consistently? So if I'm Kevin Warren and we're trying to figure out what he's going to do, and now there are these whispers of reports coming out. Albert Breer over at Sports Illustrated, who's a pretty dialed-in guy.
Yep.
You know,
especially with Big Ten stuff too.
Yeah.
I know he mentioned Harbaugh.
He gets
it's on screen if you want to read.
Yeah, so he gets a question on a podcast from the one they call Nate. What are the chances that the Chicago Bears will move off Eberflus at the end of the season? If so, would Jim Harbaugh be a potential candidate? Nate, I'd say the Bears, if you're listening, you can see this on the screen, but if you're listening in the audio world, thank you, by the way. Nate, I'd say the chances that Bears president Kevin Warren wants to remake the football operation and maybe be more intimately involved in it after the season are strong. Are not possible, not on the table, are strong. So I think it'd probably take a late season surge from the team to get Matt Eberflus a third season in Chicago. Peter King has been saying the same thing, which is another guy who's fairly incredibly
I like reading that
in.
because we all know Adam Johns put it out that he thinks that Eberflus will return. You know, Hoge's starting to...
Hoge's on that train, too.
Hoge's definitely leaning that way, and we understand how connected they are and how in tune they are with what is going on at Halas Hall, so that worries Bears fans, including me. But when I start to read some of the stuff the opposite way, I think it just goes to show you that, you know, this stuff hasn't been determined yet, and that's good. It shouldn't be, because to me, it doesn't make sense to bring these guys back at this point at all. And the thing that's going to frustrate me is if they find a way to win 7 games and one of them's against Brian Hoyer as a backup, one of them was against the Panthers, one of them's against P.J. Walker and the Browns, one of them's against, you know, it's like the bad law. And I get that's your schedule. To, you know, good teams beat, you know, teams that aren't good enough on their schedule. But when we're talking about who deserves another shot next year, I don't know if beating some of these teams that we have is enough for me to move the needle and be like, okay, we've had progress this year.
Well, that's why I teed up like, look, if they go like this is a huge week potentially for Matt Eberflus. If you go and win at Detroit, that is a statement. We just got Montez Sweat. We just got our quarterback back. We just beat Carolina in a way that we had to beat Carolina with a backup, and we didn't want to take a whole lot of risk.
100%.
And we just got it done because we absolutely needed to win that game, so we played super conservative. But now we're going to have to go on the road and beat a team that a lot of people think could end up in the Super Bowl. Are definitely a playoff team going to win the North.
David Kaplan's got him winning the Super Bowl.
You're mentioning Cap too much on the show.
I like Cap.
I like Cap.
I can't mention Cap. Take that.
Does he mention the CHGO Bears podcast?
Of course he mentions us. He loves us.
He does?
I have been with you multiple times when he's called you.
All the time.
Yeah,
they call and yell at each other.
I am good friends with David, but I don't mention him on the show every day. Every day, Braggs has got to kiss up the Cap.
Stop it, Braggs.
I mean, when's the last time?
I'm sorry. He picked the Lions to win the Super Bowl. So whatever. Anyway, tangent. Another tangent. Go back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No problem. I have no idea what I was saying, but I'll get.
You were saying that if it would be a statement.
I'm just
win.
Thank you, Lawrence. Right, it would be that would be
because that's what Baldy said, right? Well, you win one game, you lose one game. Okay, nobody's buying into the progress you're making. You start stacking wins, then the team starts to buy in, and then maybe we can start to buy into what's going on around here.
Right, and so
they haven't won back-to-back games in the Matt Eberflus era, so there's no buying in from anyone yet.
You jumped a little bit ahead for my liking right there, but it's true this would be back-to-back wins. But my point is that if the Flus takes this team up to Detroit on the road and they win a football game, that is something where Matt Eberflus can puff out his already puffy chest and say, hey, man, you got me some talent. My quarterback's back. We've
won 4 of our last 7 games.
Yeah, right. You can do all that if you want. The ship is turning in the right direction, and then maybe Kevin can
start to envision the scenario.
Yeah, start to digest it. But I think what the national reporters and Peter and Albert are saying, and then you kind of like line this up. If you're Kevin, and none of us know what he's going to do, which almost felt a little bit premature to bring this topic up today, but how many more times can we talk about the quarterback and what he needs to do? I think that's very well documented at this point. But so, like, if we're guessing at how Kevin is looking at this, I mean, this is not just a next year decision. This is, I would think that Kevin is thinking bigger, as I try to get this thing turned around and ultimately get us to the point where we can win a Super Bowl. Do I want to move forward with Ryan? Do I want to move forward with Matt? Who do I want making the quarterback decision? Is it this guy? That's the biggest thing. But who, as far as the rest of the roster, as far as how my team is being represented, like, that's one thing where I would feel very comfortable speaking out of turn, that he's got to be comfortable with the way Ryan Poles at least presents himself, and the organization does a great job of that. Which, speaking of brags, we can finally get to this. You sat down and had dinner with Kevin Warren, which I asked you about, and you're like, yeah, it's fine, and nothing happened. And then today when we were doing our pre-show conversation, like, no one's asked me about my dinner with Kevin Warren. And I said, all right, dude, I'll ask you about it today on the show. I meant to actually ask you a little bit earlier, but we've had 3 tangents.
I didn't whine like that.
You did. So you absolutely did. You did like 3 times on the calls. No one has asked me.
I was doing the Carman impersonation. I was like, had a dinner with Kevin Warren. Nobody's talking about it.
Well, I'm asking you right now, what did you learn from the dinner that I asked you about? You told me nothing happened.
I think the number one takeaway for me at the dinner, because it wasn't just Kevin, there was other representatives from the Bears that were there. For people that don't know the story, Kevin Warren reached out to Don the Bearman, the iconic, fan that you always see in the stands right by the tunnel, dressed up as a giant bear. He's been going to games since 1982. And so Kevin reached out to him right when he got the job and was like, hey, sometime down the road, I'd like to take you and some fans to dinner. Why don't you give me a list of fans you'd like to bring? And I was on the list of people because me and Don had been friends for a long time, and it was very honored to be considered in that. There was a little bit of a vetting process, so Kevin knew who he was going to dinner with, and we went.
How did you make the cut?
What's that?
How did you make the cut?
Because Don the Bearman loves
Don the Bearman, vetted me out. Okay. So he gave everybody the information of different people. So we went to a pizzeria on the lake, and Kevin was really nice, to everybody there. And, you could just tell. I think the biggest takeaway I had from it was that Kevin Warren is more than just a guy that's here for the stadium. I feel confident in saying that. The dinner was about 2 hours long. You could tell the attention to detail as he went. There was 2 different tables, so he went from one table to the other, and when he came to the second table, me and Kevin sat next to each other for a solid hour and a half. And it was really cool to kind of pick his brain about.
There you are. Look at you.
Yeah, there we are.
At what point of that hour and a half did you get this picture with him?
Like at the end.
That is such an adorable picture.
Yeah.
For those in the audio world, Warren's got his tie on, but it's the top of the shirt is unbuttoned.
Yeah, loosened up.
Love the loosened tie.
A nice loosened tie. He's hanging out. He's one of the people, and brags has a fresh haircut and actually looks borderline presentable.
I couldn't decide how I wanted to dress. I was like, do I just wear my Bears gear, or I'm like, you know what, I'm going to dress nice. I don't know if I'm going to have many dinners with the president of the Chicago Bears.
Did Bearman wear his Bearman costume?
He did not. No, he did not.
Did he look normal?
Yeah, he's just normal Don.
Is Bearman normal? No offense.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, he's normal.
He's normal.
Yeah, blue collar, hardworking guy. Normal dude.
Guy does what he does, paints his face, puts that thing on. He's a normal guy.
Yep, like Superman. So,
I have a hard time. I just have a hard time believing that. I'm sorry.
So the funniest part about the dinner, well, your definition of normal and normal people's definition of normal are 2 different things. So
I give more leeway to normal, and you're saying that he's normal. So I have a wide leeway.
You do not have a leeway of what's normal.
Are you kidding?
No, you don't. You're an elitist. Everybody's weird to you. Anyway, you just said Jim Harbaugh was weird when you're the weirdest person on the planet. This is another tangent.
do not call me an elitist. It is offensive to everything that I stand for. I will fight you.
It's probably offensive to elitists as well.
I would
That's
agree.
true. The elitists would be offended.
You could
The
say-
funniest part about the dinner was that we ate meatballs for appetizer. That was the funniest part. But no, for me, talking with some of the other Bears staff that was there, the one thing that stood out to me, not even speaking directly with Kevin, was talking with some of the staff. They said when he first came on, he kind of gave an itinerary of the things he needed to do and get accomplished, not just, to get ingratiated as the president, but all these different things he wanted to do with the team. And they were like, I don't even know how this is possible to get all this done. And he was like, what he said to me was he knocked it out one by one like a machine. And he was talking more than just stadium talk to me. And to me, it stood out that he's not just here to be the stadium guy, which I think is the perception with a lot of fans. And you can feel the attention to detail with him, the way he speaks to people, the way he, invests his time when he's talking to him. We talked about training camp. We talked about, a lot. We talked about a lot of different things. I didn't want to do the full court press with him. Are we keeping Fields? Are you going to get a new coach? I didn't ask him any of that stuff. But we did talk about the stadium. The number one thing, because he asked me my advice about the stadium, and the number one thing I said to him is, because all the fans that were there are just diehard fans that have been there for 20 years, I said, just keep in mind tradition beyond the game. Because that is what, when we go tailgating, that's what, when we've been at corner of Wabash and Cermak, that's something a lot of Bears fans take pride in. This team hasn't been good my whole life, but the traditions that we value every Sunday are beyond the game. It's about family. It's about friends. It's about enjoying your time on Sunday. And that's real. That's a real thing. You can't tell me you didn't feel that at the tailgate.
No, I did, but I'm not. What do you want him to do? Not.
But because I told him, please don't, when you make a new stadium, I don't care where it is, don't make it corporate. It needs to feel like tradition. That's what Bears fans want. Yes, we know it's going to be Bearslandia, but we want it to feel, we want to feel the tradition that we value as Bears fans.
Okay. The Bears Bastard, $1.99. Carm seems extra confrontational today to lean into that. And one more from The Bears Bastard. Braggs ordered an acai bowl for dinner with Warren.
An acai bowl.
Did you have an acai bowl?
No, we had pizza, breadstick, garlic bread, meatballs, calamari.
Did you spill on yourself?
No.
I don't know. We have a picture. We have the proof. He did not spill.
Okay, good.
Meatballs on there.
Let me ask you something, Gregory.
Oh, are we going to have it?
No. I'm ready today for my...
Oh, boy.
Don't spill on me.
Right there. Yep. So, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, if I may. I want to dive down into what you just said to be confrontational. What are you worried about that Kevin Warren's going to do that would take away quote unquote tradition?
Like I said, making the stadium too corporate. It's because we've talked about with Minnesota and how great it is. We want the new amenities, but there can be a mixture of both.
I don't even know that it's going to have all the advertisements. It's going to have all the things.
Yeah, but there can be a way of doing it in a tasteful way. Okay. I mean, Wrigley's probably a bad example of this because the stadium was already there. It's not like they rebuilt the stadium, but they've added so much stuff to the Wrigleyville, area. And
do you like
just
it?
Yes, I love it. It's the Cubs experience, but they did it in a way where it's not overwhelming and it molds into what was already there from a historical perspective.
I mean, they had to. That was
right.
Historical site, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Hold on. Let me just pause and digest that and protect my water.
Yes, protect it from me.
Thank you. Even though we have nothing up here today. Hey, I do want to tell you as we continue to dive into the Kevin Warren thing, and I've got a million more questions for you. And Hoge, I believe, is coming up from Halas Hall here at some point before we get on out of here around 1 o'clock. But I do want to say hello to our friends at Circa. Tight money slips. The low hold model games are the best when you bet them at Circa because they strive to have that -110 split, keeping as much money in your pocket as possible. That is a beautiful thing. They don't limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limit. So you come in there with the big dough. If you've got it and you want to play big like the Duke is doing, he wants to gamble at Circa. They also encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps that are available. So you're going to basically see that you're getting the best gambling percentages, splits, the whole thing when you're gambling with Circa. Also, real people behind the scenes, our friends over there, Alex and Jillian and Margaret and everybody else who I haven't met, who I'm sure are also amazing. The Circa Sports brand, they resolve issues in a timely fashion. You will be able to actually speak to someone if you are having any issues in your gambling world. Circa will do the best to rectify that. This is what you want to do now. Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. Sign up today. And also, you want to be on the lookout for the Circa events, watch parties, tailgates.
100%.
We've been doing those. Ton of fun. If you or someone you know also has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to, which is 833-234. I'm sorry, text GAMB to 833-234. Or visit areyoureallywinning.com.
That's right. And while you're on your Circa Sports app placing some bets, make sure you eat some hero bread while you're doing that, Lawrence. I'm sorry. I've kind of gone the other way. I want to make worse transitions.
Yeah, you're doing that.
Just
to
infuriate you a little more. Use the code CHGO.
You had hero bread with, no, you didn't, but you could have had hero bread with Kevin Warren. Keep going.
Yes.
You could have broken hero bread with Kevin Warren,
Make sure you're eating Enrique Iglesias' favorite bread, and that is hero bread. Get it? I can be your hero, baby.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Use the code CHGO for 10% off your first order. You guys know how much I love hero bread, right? Because why? Macros, right? They have high fiber and ultra low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar per slice. You know, that fewer calories than the leading national brand, 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. These are things that are important. People watching what's on the nutrition label when they're buying their stuff, and that's what you want. And it's great. It's soft, fluffy. It's scrumptious. I know how much you love that word, Carm.
We do love a scrumptious hero bread.
And Thanksgiving is next week, and you got to have bread around the table. And this is the kind of bread you want to get. So make sure. Right now, Hero Bread is offering the CHGO fam 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co and use the code CHGO to save on Hero Bread today. That's hero.co to save 10% off today. Hero Bread.
Straight
to you guys.
Straight delicious. The Bears Bastard is on one today. I love him. $19.99. I don't know what a corporate stadium is, but can we just have some parking that's relatively close to the stadium for tailgating? How about some bars and restaurants within walking distance of the stadium? Do you need to walk off the set?
No, I don't. But that's he kind of nailed it right there, too, the Bears Bastard, when you talk about tailgating. A lot of stadiums, they try to control the tailgating environment. You have all these rules and restrictions. But when you look at the Bills, you think they're going to have rules when they build their new stadium for the Bills Mafia of how their tailgates are going to go? No, they're going to let Bills Mafia tailgate how they've always tailgated for 50 years. And so that's, again, tradition beyond the game. Take into consideration that there's people that tailgate a certain way for Bears games, and find a spot for them. So you're going to have your lot. You're going to have your cars and your parking lots. But then there should also be a space for the people that are the professional tailgaters, like we tailgate with at the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club at the corner of Wabash and Cermak. Those people shouldn't be excluded out of the consideration of how the layout of the parking in the tailgate should be. So when you go and tailgate for the games, you get the top tailgating environment you possibly can get. Those are the little details that most presidents and owners and corporations don't care about, but for the fan experience are important. So that's you're actually hitting the nail on the head as far as corporate versus tradition.
All right. I mean, I'm just going to have to plead ignorance here because
you are going to have to plead ignorance because you are ignorant.
But that's fine. Thank you. I've been to our tailgate, which is awesome. I've also been to the Muni lot in Cleveland, which I met some of the most whacked out people of all time who had been doing shots for 3 straight days, and they were drinking lots and they were
Where?
In Cleveland.
Oh, in Cleveland. Yeah.
I've been to a Browns tailgate.
Well, not our tailgates.
No. But I've been to a Browns tailgate. I've been to a Bears tailgate. I've been to a bunch of college tailgates. I've been to Ohio State. They're all the same. Everybody gets drunk and grills out. Like I don't know what you're talking about, but it's fine. Like how are they? What differences do you think?
Like with the Rams when we saw Nick at the LA Rams Stadium, they had like the Thunder Way. So that was obviously a designated spot for people to have.
That's against the Chargers, but yeah.
Chargers. I'm sorry. Did I say Rams? The Bears Bastard $4.99 super chat. Last one for me. Moving back to Chicago in April. Looking forward to the diehard tailgates with you guys.
And it's going to be awesome. And they're going to feel like most amazing tailgates, which is why people love tailgating, because you get to hang out and drink and eat food. And
right. And the thing that I love about, not to toot the horn of what we do with us and the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club, but we're not there. Everybody's not there getting plastered. Like it's a family environment. I brought my kid there. I brought my mom there. It's not every tailgate is created equally. So I know you're like, oh, they're all the same. No, it's about how they're run, the operation, who actually, takes responsibility for the environment that it is. So, yeah, I'm sure there are some tailgate scenes that are a shit show, but with what we've done here in Chicago, at least the people I know that have been tailgating for 40 years, they do it a little more responsibly.
Okay, our tailgates are the best. I'm not saying anything different. I'm just pointing out that you had lots of questions you could ask Kevin Warren, and you leaned into something that.
Well, I'm not going to grill him about Jim Harbaugh.
You should have.
Sorry.
You should have.
I'm not going
Bad
to.
job. You should not have been at that dinner. I should have been there. We would have gotten a lot more information, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have just spilled the beans with meatball brags.
I would have gotten in there. All right, Adam Hoge is live from Halas Hall as he's perusing his notes or something he's looking down at.
He had a very
joining us
evil
now
look.
on what's that?
It was a very evil look as he looked up.
I didn't see any evil. I see a very happy Hoge. He's so happy to be away from us today and at Halas and doing his reporter gigs, nodding his head yes for those of you in the audio world. Hoagie Cat, hi buddy. I listened to Getsy and I listened to Hightower and I listened to a little of whoever spoke on the defensive side of the ball that I have no idea who that was.
Wasn't Phil Snow?
It was not Phil Snow, I don't believe. I got
Dave
nothing.
Borgonzi.
Yeah, the Borgonzi. Okay, thank you.
I thought that was a comedian.
Can you
hosted SNL last week. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Nate Bargatze.
Yeah. What did you learn today, Hoge? Because I got to be honest, I was having a hard time figuring out what I was learning listening.
Well, I thought that Richard Hightower gave just a phenomenal explanation of how gunners are supposed to get downfield, long stride into short stride, then shuffle, and then attack. I mean, that's just the type of information that you don't.
Oh no!
Oh no, Hoagie!
Our first ever frozen Hoagie.
Frozen Hoagie. Well, let's.
Hoagie.
Oh wait, he's back.
He's back.
Oh, thank goodness.
You unfroze.
You
de-thawed.
You were frozen with your eyes closed, and but I thought a powerful look. All right.
So did my explanation of proper technique on how to get downfield as a gunner, did I just get cut off? Is that what just happened?
No, we got it.
We got the long stride to short stride. We got all that.
Long into short and tackle somebody.
Shuffle.
Yeah, shuffle.
Don't forget the shuffle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I fell asleep.
Well, here, what stood out to me, Adam.
Don't fall asleep, Braggs. That's why they gave up a touchdown to the Panthers. This is stuff
Brett.
you need to know because
That's true.
Josh Blackwell didn't break down properly. Next thing you know, Carm's guy, Amir Smith-Marset, scoring a touchdown. So all phases matter. Special teams matters. Every yard matters.
That's
That's
true.
all I got. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I got. All right.
All right. So, look, I thought one thing that stood out, and I don't think you're going to agree with me here, but I'll bring it up anyway. Yesterday, Matt Eberflus was asked about what does Justin need to do, and he used consistency, and we talked about that yesterday. Today, Luke Getsy was asked the same question, and he's like, well, everybody's got to be better. I got to be better. The running backs need to be better. But he dodged it, whereas the Flus didn't. Not on the same page. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think he dodged it. I think he was asked, what does consistency look like for you in these 7 games? And he went back to a very similar talking point that Matt Eberflus brought up, which was just taking care of the football. I think, guys, if we had to rank the things that Justin Fields needs to show here in these last 7 games, I think it's just stop the fewer negative plays. I mean, really, I think that's the easiest way I can say it is whether that's a sack, whether that's a fumble, whether that's an interception, whether that's a penalty due to poor cadence, something like that, just not having all on the page, which a lot of that falls on the quarterback. I think that's just eliminate negative plays, have fewer negative plays. And I think if Fields can show that in these last 7 games, I think that would be not only just huge for him, I think it would actually result in some more wins because –
Frozen Hoagie.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say, I wonder if if he's got programs running in the background or what's going on. But this is it's not great, Hoge. It's not great.
Bad Hoge.
If you have other things in the background,
it's a frozen loaf.
Let's send him on his way for a second and call back in and see if that works. Hang up and call back.
We're booting off the Hoge.
Yeah, we're gonna hang him up and call back.
So I guess I'd ask you this, Mark.
Yes, Greg.
If they throw back-to-back screens and the second screen is completed for a loss of 4 yards, is that considered a negative play?
Yes, that would be considered a negative play.
Not on him, though. That's on the play calling. So
I got you.
But I get it. We all understand that Justin Fields can't be taking, sacks and negative plays, but it's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek.
I would like to underline, after watching the rest of the NFL play football last Sunday and seeing plenty of negative plays and plenty of plays that didn't make sense, I'm going to vow.
Matt Nagy said if Halas Hall was more corporate, they'd have better Wi-Fi. Fair.
That is I actually, yeah. Well, okay. Can you?
Don't. Go ahead.
Yes. Go
ahead.
Thank you.
You don't yell at me about tangents ever in your life. Here comes Hoge.
You're very tangenty today. Can we just say that? I'm not saying that I haven't had tangenty day. I'm not putting you out on a thing, but I am calling out what is happening today. You are very tangenty today.
Sorry.
My point that I was trying to make, which I forgot about, was that I am going to not freak out on individual plays the rest of the season. I'm vowing that it's one play in a whole game. What does that look, Hoge, as you come back here? I am not going to sit. I'm just saying, after watching the NFL last week, there's a lot of plays where you could scratch your head. And here, I think a lot of times as Bears fans, we stare, what the hell was that, Luke Getsy? Why would you ever come? Just relax. There's a lot of plays in a football game. It's not going to be perfect all the time. Let's look at the entire body of work. We can look at that, but I'm not going to micromanage each play and freak out unless it's a 4th and 1 and they really need it and they do something stupid. Then I would. But other than that, no. Like a 1st and 10, first play of the game doesn't work. No big deal. What are you doing the next time? Let's go.
That was a tangent, or just for the record. But I am glad that Getsy. Go ahead, Hoge. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look. Assuming you were talking about getting that in the context of Getsy, because I kind of came in here halfway through that. But, when it comes to these offensive coordinators, what matters more in the long run is where does the offense rank, overall. Right now, this is a top 5 rushing, I think top 4 right now, top 5 or top 4 rushing offense. They've been good on third down. They've been good in the red zone. Okay, so those are all things to hang your hat on. Now, you haven't quite been able to develop the quarterback the way everybody was expecting. The negative plays, there's been way too many of them. And penalties have been a huge issue, although that applies to all sides of the ball. But, pre-snap penalties on offense. So there's plenty of good. There's also some bad that needs to be corrected, like Cole Kmet said with us the other day. If they could just get over some of those penalty issues, I think they all feel like that they can be more consistent offensively. But I agree mostly with what you were just talking about, Carm, is like look, the play callers are not going to have perfect days. It just doesn't happen. Not every play is going to work, and some of them are going to look worse than others depending on the situation and how the defense wins that certain play. Because sometimes the defense coordinator across the sideline from you calls a better play than you do. And depending on how bad it is, I mean, it can look pretty dumb. But I think the more you zoom out and look at the overall progress is a much better indicator of, whether or not Bragg's firing Luke Getsy in week 3 was a stupid thing to say or a smart thing.
It was a very smart thing. But I am glad that Luke Getsy took more accountability than everyone, because negative plays, of course, we understand Justin Fields can't take sacks, but Eberflus, saying consistency, not taking negative plays, whatever. Penalties are negative plays, and those fall under the coaching staff and lack of discipline within the whole team. And that's on the coaches. That has nothing to do with Justin, which puts him behind the sticks, which then causes the trickle-down effect for Justin to make mistakes, or any quarterback to make mistakes as well. Moving off of that, Adam, I there was a little bit of optimism, I guess, with Khalil Herbert. I felt like potentially playing this Sunday. Is that going to be the case, or what are you feeling like on those vibes?
Yeah, so it was interesting because I thought that they just decided not to make a roster move last week, and part of that was based on my direct question to the head coach and his somewhat direct answer back. So I thought Khalil Herbert was going to be ready to go, and then they didn't make that move. So was that just them thinking that they didn't need him for that game? Why have to cut somebody else when a move didn't have to be made? But then he ends up yesterday in the injury report with a shin on top of the ankle. And so that's an indication to me that something else was going on there. Maybe he suffered some type of setback as he was trying to come back last week. Now, we'll see what the injury report says today, but he was limited in practice yesterday. I think he'll at least be limited today, if not full go. We'll see, though, and if he is full go, that would be some optimism about him playing this week. Is it the most important position the Bears need a guy back? Not necessarily, because Deontay Foreman's been pretty good, but I like Khalil Herbert. I think he's the best back on the team. So the more firepower you can have, especially in what's looking like a fun running back battle, right? You got the David Montgomery angle, but Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most exciting rookies in the league. The Bears have multiple running backs and a good running game. Like this is a game that, from a running perspective, if you like watching teams run the football, if you like running back play, this is a good matchup on Sunday.
I did get the sense, just listening to everything with Herbert, that I personally am guessing that he's not playing this week. But it was also interesting that Getsy was asked, like, hey, Deontay Foreman's played really well here. Do you plan on splitting carries and whatnot? He was kind of evasive with that answer.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's some gamesmanship in there as well. Deontay Foreman's earned carries, and it's kind of a tricky situation to manage, to be honest. But for me, if I was calling the shots, and obviously I'm not, but Herbert would be my RB1 if he's fully healthy. But maybe he's not. Maybe he's back but limited. Maybe he's on a pitch count where you're looking at like, okay, let's give him 10 carries this week and ease him back into it. That's something I could definitely see happen too.
And for the record, I've been wrong a lot lately on my senses here. I thought that Justin was going to play last week.
You didn't have to say lately.
That's rude.
That's a good point.
But whatever. I'll wear what I got to wear around here. I've had some brilliant takes, which we all know about, but we don't need to underline those.
Which one?
I don't know. I'll have to think of one by sometime next week. But look, I was wrong about Fields playing last week, so maybe I'll be wrong about Herbert. But you don't need to rush Khalil Herbert back. Let's get a healthy Herbert for the last 6 games. I'm a long-term play with my guy Khalil Herbert, because when you average 5 yards a carry over 2 seasons in the NFL, that's impressive to me. Let's let that guy get full speed. Go ahead, Gregory. I see you itching.
Yeah, I'm itching, because I think the one thing that we didn't get to talk about yesterday, because Justin Fields was after our show, was how open he was about trying to decide how he wanted to throw with either a glove. Then he said he didn't feel comfortable with the glove, and dealing with some semblance of pain tolerance here going forward. Like it's not completely healed, because the one thing that stood out to me, he said that the doctors held him back last week because they were like, well, if it gets injured again, that he could be out a few more weeks. I don't really know how that circumstance changes, 6 days later. Like, this is something to me that it's going to be a concern the rest of the year. It's not like he's taking this time off and now he's good to go. Like, at some point there's a real possibility this gets hurt again.
Right, and if it's something that maybe needed surgery the first time, but you got away with not having it, if you dislocate it again, do you then need the surgery? So, it's certainly not the same type of injury at all, but you've seen this play out with Deshaun Watson the last couple of weeks where, he had an issue in that shoulder. It sounds like they were actually advising him not to try to play through it. He came back, re-injured it. Now he's out for the year because he needs surgery. So you definitely want to avoid that type of thing. But that does happen sometimes. And, I agree with you, Greg. I think that risk probably would have been there regardless, whether he came back last week or comes back 2 weeks from now. By not getting the surgery, I imagine that there's, just a little extra risk there with that thumb. So it's all about protecting it. My guess would be he's more like 90 to 95%, not 100%. I'm not sure that pain's going to be completely gone, and that's fine. I mean, you're running out of time here if you're the Bears and if you're Justin Fields. So you got to see him play. You got to get out there. I would have been fine if he played against the Panthers. Now he gets his extra 10 days. Great. Now let's see what it looks like.
Do you think, just from putting the conspiracy hat on that I love to put on, do you think that was part of the reason why that they didn't want to opt to surgery, if you're Justin Fields' camp? Like, because you said how much is on the line, and if he hadn't played the rest of the year, then the decision could have been potentially made at that point.
Yeah, no idea. And I don't even think that's conspiracy. I think that's probably honest conversations that probably happen behind the scenes, but I don't know. How do you not have those conversations if you're Justin Fields' camp? But one thing I'll also throw out, with the Bears having these 2 indoor games coming up here and an extra day of rest going into the Monday night or next week, I do understand why he didn't play against the Panthers, even though I was okay with him trying. But you get this extra time, 2 indoor games where you don't have to worry about that thumb being cold. Not that it was terribly cold in the Panther game, but you guys know what I mean. Climate controlled, 68 degrees, no moisture. I think that helps any type of healing process or injury prevention process that might have been present had he tried to play at Soldier Field last week.
Last thing we need is a cold Fields thumb. This is good. He's getting a nice climate-controlled thumb, leading the Bears to victory. That's the plan. Hoge, I know we're up against the clock here, but just wrapping up with Justin, did anything stand out to you from yesterday's press conference?
With him?
Yeah.
No, just that, there was that moment where, short of calling out you by name, he called you out.
He did.
That was a pretty good moment, I thought.
Yeah, look, people are going to talk about different quarterback options when you're 5-100 as the starting quarterback of the Bears. So, this comes with the territory. He could have said it like that. Yeah. When you've won as few games as I've won, by the way, it's not all my fault. Look at the roster and look at the bozos that are running this place. That would have been amazing if he had gone down that road. By the way, I called them out earlier this season when I said it could be coaching. I support all of this, by the way, Justin. You're absolutely correct. He could have said that, but instead he just wanted to, come at Carm, which I thought was rude.
Well, if I get a moment in the locker room today, I'll just ask him straight up, how badly did you just want to call out Mark Carman specifically?
Justin and I are just for the record, to everybody out there, Justin and I are, I wouldn't say we're close friends, but we're.
Yeah, I would definitely not say that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
I would call us lovely acquaintances. We have a lovely acquaintance. He gives me a good dap. I've got multiple daps.
The smallest little head nods, and Carm taking that to the next level.
I've had small talk with Justin. I think we're. Listen. I'm looking around the city. I don't see anybody else doing Stand with Fields. Damn it.
We also didn't see anybody singing about Secret Bajan Man.
I have seen.
Actually, we have, but yeah.
His name's Swirsky. He's singing about him.
Oh, that's true. Well,
I'm not the only guy singing Secret Bajan.
Yeah, but you started the movement, and I haven't heard any new Justin Fields songs since Bajan played quarterback, and I think that's probably what's eating at Justin Fields the most.
Yeah, well, I had one queued up and ready, and then he got hurt, so that's on him.
What about Sting, Fields of Gold? Maybe we could work that into. How about that? Can you work something out of that?
That's not bad, but I mean, since Hoge is just sitting here bringing things up left and right.
Look at he's doing the scroll. He's going into his scrolling vortex.
Go. Sorry, I don't care what's on your phone.
All right, fine.
He's scrolling for his he's scrolling for his next ad read, Carm.
Almost.
That's what I figured he was stalling.
No. It's very yes.
No, that's it. I don't know what you're about to do, but I don't care because I'm going to leave.
Sing it together. Almost heaven.
Why are you singing this again?
Soldier. I've never sang it.
He left. He left you.
That's rude. He called for it.
No, he really didn't, though.
I think he did. Soldier Field.
Oh, this song. Yeah, that's my bad.
Pristine lakefront, Chicago skyline.
Midtown Athletic Club.
Coming to that in a second, but winning's hard there. Impossible, it seems. Bottom of the NFL. Super Bowl brags dreams. You're leaving too? All right, fine. No. Yes, Justin Fields. Where'd the Brags go? Run the ball.
No, come on, let's get going. We got a Cubs show in like.
Where is the Cubs show?
It's right here. So let's get going.
I don't even see the Cubs show. All right. Hey, Greg, you're back. You got your brick juice. George Hoffman coming up on the CHGO Sports Podcast at 3. Just a reminder again that is going on. Looking forward to Giorgio and Kevin and myself, and I am looking forward to Midtown, and I'm going to be touring the facility tomorrow before I go to Bears practice. Midtown's got 4 Chicagoland locations: Palatine in the northwest suburbs, Bannockburn on the north shore, Willowbrook in the southwest suburbs, and yes, the Midtown Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park, Fullerton, Elston. It's just an unbelievably fantastic facility. Midtown Palatine's doing a multi-million-dollar transformation. So if you're out that way and you want to join that club, you are going to be living the dream to the ultimate level. I mean, Midtown is seriously the nicest fitness club that you will ever go to. It is straight fantastic. They don't even let people like Greg Braggs in there, which is a great decision by Midtown. But it is something for the entire family, even Braggs' family. Jenny and Addie absolutely deserve to be able to partake in this luxury. You, on the other hand, I'm not exactly sure. But there is something for everybody there. Childcare is included with the memberships as well. So that is awesome. You've got the yoga, you've got boxing, you've got spin, you've got cross training, you've got group exercise, you've got basketball, you've got the swimming pool, and it's all just first class. So best tennis courts you're ever going to see. Head over right now, because you want to support us here, to midtown.com/CHGO, midtown.com/CHGO. Find out more and tour the Midtown Athletic Club nearest you.
That's right. Make sure you're heading over to our guys over at Ray's CDJR. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? If you are, then we have some great news for you. We're on the same team as Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake. At Ray's CDJR, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings. And right now, during the Black Friday sales event at Ray's CDJR in Fox Lake, 0% financing is now available on select new models all month long. But that's not all, Carm. Just for listening, you can get a free oil change when you mention CHGO at the service center or mention CHGO when you book online at raycdjr/service. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, serving the community since when? 1963.
1963, when the Chicago Bears won the NFL championship.
Carm was covering it on the sidelines.
That's right, with my guy Ed O'Bradovich making plays and throwing his helmet into the crowd.
Oh, look at Nick Moriano. I need an oil change. Looking for the free ride.
I mean, he's sitting there playing some weird video game, God of War or something. And
free ride Moriano.
You think I look handsome today, Braggs? What do you think?
Yeah, everybody's like, speculating on, if you've got some, corporate hit tonight, on a TV station that shall not be named, because you're looking all professional.
Yes, that T-shirt's very professional.
I mean, but look
the
at
hair is.
Look at the hair, Lawrence, and look at how much I've been working out with.
Yeah, you look good.
I mean, my guy.
You've been pumping iron since you lost that arm wrestling with me. Is that what
you
it
are
is?
very strong? Congratulations, Coach Caldwell's taking me to the next level, and I'm looking forward to doing some personal training over at Midtown too. Hey, Mike, it's $9.99 super chat. If the Bears end up with, say, the 3 and 5 picks, should we go all in on the Fields-Bajan combo or draft another QB still? Don't need a left tackle and no real defensive ends in the draft. That is the ultimate question, Mike. If Carolina wins a couple more football games, what will the Bears do? And I think we're going to find out the answer to that in the next 7 games.
Yeah,
but I think it's on the table for sure.
Yeah, if they're picking after 3 and 5, there isn't a quarterback within that range. Unless Michael Penix really shoots up but everybody's got him falling because of his age. I'm definitely intrigued by his talent. Then you got some people that think J.J. McCarthy might move up the ranks.
Want that guy.
But I also don't think
didn't throw a pass in the second half of the Penn State.
32 straight runs. We're not drafting
right. So
J.J.
I don't
McCarthy.
think either of those guys are going to come anywhere near the top 10 picks that we'll have. So yes, if they fall out of those top 2, I think they're going to run it back with Justin Fields and Tyson Bagent just out of having no other options. So
I mean, you could throw Fields and the number 3 pick to the team with 1 or 2, possibly. I don't know.
No, they're gonna take the young. They're gonna take the young buck. Another team would prefer to take the young quarterback.
Interesting thought by Law, but unlikely. $5 from Christopher Poe, my guy. New sub here.
Thanks, Christopher.
You are the man. New subscriber. I got it. Love the content you guys put out. What do you guys think is the Bears seeing Flus as the head coach to justify running it back next year?
Well,
Christopher,
all those things that Cole Kmet ripped off the other day, they're like top 5 in the league in third down. They're top 5 in the league in red zone. They're number 1 in rushing offense. They're number 1 in rushing defense. And Cole said, if we just clean up the penalties and the little mistakes, that's how they feel as a team, and I'm sure that's how Eberflus feels as a head coach. But, I mean, to me, it's an indictment to not have back-to-back wins on your resume 2 years into your coaching tenure. So I don't get it. But to circle back to Carm's poll that he put out earlier, and we put it here in the chat as well, I just think for people to understand, I get a lot of people are saying fire all the coaches. But I think within that percentage, some of those people want to keep Fields. And I don't think it works like that. If you're going to fire the coaches, you're more than likely
we're going full reset.
It's going full reset.
Yeah.
So you can't keep Fields and just fire the coaches. More than likely. That's an unlikely scenario, in my opinion.
Right.
Just to update your poll on our YouTube channel here.
Yes, sir.
Now, first, let me note that there are almost 700 votes, and yet somehow we only have 230 likes.
Come on.
That doesn't make sense. Both are just a click. Anyways, what would you like to see for the Bears next season? New coaching staff, 62% of the votes. Keep Flus, new offensive coordinator, 19%. Run it back, 10%. New GM and coaching staff, 9%.
So that's the least. So Ryan Poles, we would like to extend you congratulations from all of us at CHGO Bears.
5% new coaching staff on Twitter.
People believe in you. So there you go. Hey, thank you to everybody who's supported us.
$5 sterling pound from Stephen Haynes. I can handle most scenarios other than Getsy's staying. He has to go. No, I don't care that I cut you off.
Cheers, Stephen. Thank you.
I'm glad you're aware of it. That's all that I'm asking for is
The acknowledgement.
if you're aware that's good. That's good. Yeah. All right. Say, hey, become a diehard. Thanks to everybody who's supporting us. You might as well become a diehard too, because you're going to get podcasts of every team every day. You're going to get the post-game shows. You're going to get the premium written content. You're going to get 20% off all our events. You're going to get our Black Friday sale, which is coming up here. 90% off shirts.
Up to 90% off.
Up to
90%.
At least 20% off.
100. Yeah, there you go.
At least 20. That's team gear. And our CHGO gear, like I'm wearing today, that would be at least 33% off.
Yes.
And hats and hoodies, $10 off. And if you spend $75 or more, you're going to get a $15 gift card. So, look, we're doing everything we can to make it worth your while to support us and give you all the love back. So all you got to do is go to allchgo.com, click on that diehard, beautiful link, and sign on up today, and we will forever be appreciative, and we'll see you in the Discord chat, and you will become best friends with all of us. And by the way, we're having a happy hour coming up next Tuesday night, which is going to be awesome, where that is only for diehards. If you're a diehard, you get the link, and you come on in, and we all hang out and become best friends, because I need some friends. They've been dwindling on me lately, so I'm looking for you.
I'm your friend.
Depends on the day, but yes, thank you, Greg. Continue on, sir.
That's it. That's all I got. What do you want me to say?
Get fitted out of the best sports gear around with.
Oh, well, you took my diehard read.
No,
Look at what we've done here.
It's
with FOCO.
With FOCO. Come on now.
And
use the code CHGO on all non-presale items. Get fitted out in the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. They cover all the sports: baseball, basketball, football, hockey. They've got all the different kind of apparel you're looking for. Set decorations like you see here behind us and here on the table. FOCO has donated a few awesome pieces for us, so go show them some love while they're always showing us some love. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. FOCO. That's FOCO.
So just an extra shout out as we wrap it up here. I personally would hook up with our Game Time sponsor, and I would go on that, and I would go see, if you have the means tonight and the time, to go see Trevor Noah at the Chicago Theater. I went last night. It was phantasmal. So good. I was highly entertained.
Phantasmal. Is that a portmanteau of fantastic and abysmal? Because that's what it sounds like.
I would say it is.
And did I just blow your mind with portmanteau? Because I don't think either of you know what that means.
Nobody knows what that means. What did you say?
Portmanteau.
Sounds like a steak.
I had a great time. I highly recommend it. It was phenomenal. He did a great thing on the national.
Jenny and I, tomorrow night, are going to Rosemont to see Old Dominion. Our favorite.
We're having a Bulls takeover, and you're going to see Old Dominion?
Yeah, we've been planning it since the summer. It's our favorite band.
Whatever. 1999 from the best of...
So if you're there,
Crystal,
make sure you say hi.
Best of the best. Crystal is saying it's either keep Fields and coaches or complete reset.
I agree, Crystal.
I truly believe that Warren is making the evaluations, and he's going to make his decision at the end of this season. I just want a Super Bowl one before I leave this earth. Crystal, I've told you this before. I'm going to tell you it again. You keep the faith. I mean, sure, people that really deserve to see the Cubs win a World Series, like Ron Santos, spent an entire life and never saw it, and that sucked. So it is on the table that's possible. But I truly believe the Bears are going to get there.
Make sure you're coming out to Uncle Bud's, too, here this Sunday.
If you're not coming out to Uncle Bud's, that would be super disappointing, because it's going to be an amazing time. Sunday.
Out in Oak Lawn.
Out in Oak Lawn.
Pre-game and post-game shows live.
Watching the game together.
Good food.
There will be
Good vibes, good environment.
if the Bears get down 3 touchdowns at any point, there's going to be a group hug.
Yes. All our watch parties have been a lot of fun this year. We've been all over the city. Now we're going to Oak Lawn. If you go to Eventbrite, there's a link there. You can also find it. We'll be putting the link out on Twitter and on Facebook.
Yeah, and a reminder, it is free. It is a free event, but we would love it if you RSVP just so we know how many of y'all are coming. We appreciate you.
If and when they get up 3 touchdowns. Also a group hug, according to head of content Kevin Koenig. That's right. 3 touchdowns, either side. We're hugging it out at Uncle Bud's. I'm looking forward to it.
Chi-Town for life, $4.99 super chat. Hey guys, first time super chat. Just wanted to say thanks for keeping my hopes as alive as a lonely Bears fan in Alabama.
Chi-Town, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thanks for the first time super chat. And I don't know if I should say Roll Tide or War Damn Eagle, but either way, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in, Chi-Town. We appreciate you. Thanks to Lawrence for producing, directing, and dominating the show. Thanks to Hoge out at Halas Hall. Gregory, you were amazing today as per always. And thanks to everybody who jumped in here in the chat and or any of our polls or wherever you have supported us here at CHGO Bears. It means a ton to us, so thank you. We are back tomorrow with the Bears brothers, Will and Nick, with the preview show at noon. And then, of course, Uncle Bud's at 11 on Sunday. So see you there, buddy.
That's right. Going to get my mom with her new knee.
Love you,
Shout
Barbara.
out to Barb. Barb, you're the best. Don't worry about who you brought into this world and the impact that guy's had. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow right here with Will and Nick.
We all silly like the mayor.